What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. AsmonGold got mad, I think, about my take on Xbox and what's happening. So he made a video, so I'm going to respond to his video. So let's get into it. You'll have to excuse me because I'm actually at work, so this is not my usual setup. Yeah.
There are people that are unhappy about what I said about Xbox. More drama? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not unhappy at all. I don't mind what he says. He's just wrong. So, you know, I don't feel like he understands the industry. I think he's a bit out of touch. Let me just quickly.
Right there is the problem. Sorry.
Let me just quickly respond to Mark in the chat.
Make sure
PC
I get this.
gamers have got a weirdly skewed version and seem to think, and AsmonGold was the same.
No, here we go.
To think that if there is no exclusive, that's great because like everyone gets to play more games, and that's where their thought process ends. That's a stupid thought process.
Okay.
Like AsmonGold's about.
No.
AsmonGold's good.
Thought process,
yeah,
and I'm going to say that as a PC gamer, I do not own an Xbox. In fact, I do not own any consoles anymore. When I got the
I
PC
wonder why. Look at his profile picture.
6 or 8 months ago, the consoles.
I mean, necessary. Asmon, probably not. He's an ex-gamer, ex-Xbox gamer. He switched over to PC because he wanted better performance. And I don't begrudge anyone that if that's what you want to do. I'm not a tinkerer, and I sort of see PCs more like something you have to tinker with. It's not my bag. Like, you know, I'm not like a massive tech guy, and I don't really probably understand it as well as Asmon or even Garuda does. So I don't usually comment on it.
Were sold and the funds are put towards a PC, and I do not hold the view that I want no exclusives because I'm going to get them all on PC. That's selfish. That's not looking at the bigger picture.
It is selfish, of course. That's what I want.
Yeah, and the issue with that is like absolutely gaming's a selfish pursuit. I 110% agree with that. But even if you're selfish, if you think into this just a little bit, you can understand that if you live within any ecosystem, if you're gaming, this is going to affect you. There's going to be far-reaching consequences. We'll get into that.
Like, I don't care if some idiot wants to buy a Nintendo and not be able to play certain games. Like, that's not my problem.
I don't know why he needs to insult everyone all the time. Seems to be something that he does quite often. And people seem to get upset when you insult him. But, I mean, he often insults people.
Fuck.
You've got to look at it from a competition standpoint. What do you think? Okay, we all know, and it's fairly well agreed, that Sony, PlayStation, and Nintendo, they're not very kind to their fans. They don't give a flying fuck about what you think. Pardon the French. And they will gouge you. They will double dip on you, triple
Bless you.
dip on you. And
So the argument that they're doing that, I mean, I don't know. Like, if you're saying they're already doing it and Xbox is in the market now, it sure seems like Xbox isn't doing a good job counterbalancing it.
I mean, if you don't like it now, I mean, I don't know if he is saying he doesn't like it or whatever, but he's sort of saying that his point's mute, but it's not mute because things will get a lot worse. Xbox is counterbalancing it. Whether they're doing a good job of counterbalancing, well, that's up for debate. We can have that conversation. That's absolutely fine, but you can't argue that they're not counterbalancing it. You can't argue that they aren't creating competition. I mean, well, I certainly wouldn't. He might.
they're just not very consumer friendly.
Yeah, I don't know.
If Xbox heads down the path that we're all sort of assuming and what's rumored to be, and the Xbox console becomes more or less irrelevant, and it becomes even
more irrelevant,
less popular than what it already is, and it leaves
right.
the hardware market, What do you think PlayStation and Nintendo are going to do with their systems? They're going to jack the prices up. Their games are going to go up. Xbox.
That's going to happen no matter what. Like every different time that a new set of consoles comes out, it's more expensive than the last console because of inflation. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, that's not the way it is at all. That's categorically untrue. That is not right. And in fact, because I made a video, earlier responding to Asmon, I was a bit harsh, and people didn't appreciate it. And I can respect that. That's fair enough. Like, Australians are a little bit different culturally to Americans as well. So, but just this is categorically untrue. You can see here, and I'll link this down in the description. You can see here that that's just wrong. The PS3 was like $700. The Neo Geo was like $1,000, and this is with today's 2020 inflation. So what he's saying is categorically untrue. I got a screen up top, so apologies. Yeah, like I said, it's not my usual setup.
Like that has nothing to do with Xbox. Like, are they going to make the consoles that much more expensive? I don't know. Probably not.
Well, yeah, they are. We've already seen them do it, Asmon. This is the first generation that we have ever seen a platform holder or a console provider or whatever you want to call them raise the price of their console 2 years after release. Usually goes the other way. They usually drop it. And then it might go to your point that they're probably at that time, they didn't feel like Microsoft was enough of a threat for them to have an issue with raising their console price. And then Xbox followed suit. And, that's what happens when a market leader doesn't feel like they're being competed with. I would argue that that's changed the generation, especially after ABK. We'll get into that later.
Is keeping those two relatively honest, right?
Yeah, well,
so Xbox is keeping them honest. But I thought we just got done talking about that they're dishonest. I don't think so. I don't think that they are at all. Like, he's right that competition is important, but that's clearly not what's happening here.
It is. And if you released this video, say, a couple of years ago, we might be having a different conversation. But Xbox has just become the biggest publisher in the world. So, I mean, if you're saying that they're not competition at this point, then I don't know. I just don't think you're following the market, dude. Yeah. I don't know if you follow any of this stuff daily, but all these guys on my panel, like, we live and breathe this stuff. Followed the ABK deal. We follow everything. And we keep our finger on the pulse of what's happening. So I don't know. That's our shtick. I just don't know if it's your shtick.
Xbox console goes away, we're going to get dragged over the coals.
That was my point.
You can't be selfish as a PC player. You can't.
That was my point, and that's
absolutely can be. I don't give a fuck about this console shit. Who fucking cares? I don't give a fuck. Like, what do you?
Yeah,
mean? And also, like, you can't be selfish about this PC stuff. Couldn't this guy make this exact same argument for why, like, for example, you can only play Halo on an Xbox?
No, it's not. It's a different thing. You can make the argument that exclusives are bad, and I will in a minute make the argument on the show that exclusives are bad for consumers and why they are and why they're good, but they're a necessary evil. But you should care. I mean, because Sony's raised its prices to $70, you've already seen Steam sneak raising some games up to $70. So it's not something that's not going to affect you, dude. Like, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect everyone. If there's one lead platform console, that will affect the entire market. I mean, are you arguing that it won't? I'd actually be interested to know if you are arguing that PC is like this island unto itself and is just not affected by anything else that happens in gaming. I wonder if you actually, it sounds like that's what you think, but I obviously not going to put words in your mouth. I wouldn't do that.
So even Microsoft disagrees with him. Like, this isn't even like, this is literally, this is their plan. Their plan is they want PC people to be selfish.
No, they want PC people
what
playing
I'm
games.
saying.
When I had you're right. Well, people were saying, first of all, let me dispel that rumor. I wasn't crying in my fucking car. That's just how I look in the morning when I wake up. I do look like shit in the morning.
But
he was sort of leading his people down a path that like exclusives,
my people
shouldn't be a thing and they should be everywhere. 100% agree. Oh, Asmon.
I'm great. This is great to hear that they see my perspective. Wow.
This is sort of my problem with Asmon, is that he's extremely arrogant, and that rubs me the wrong way. Which is why probably I might get a bit extra. It's not that I'm mad. I just I don't like people behaving like this. And so I think if you can cut them down a peg, but I mean, that's a very Aussie thing, I guess, cutting down tall poppies. So it might be a uniquely cultural thing. I don't know.
Wow.
Like, I'm literally agreeing with the guy. Like, I'm steel manning his argument, which wasn't very good, but I'm steel manning his argument because he didn't even make this point. Like, he didn't even make these points, but he just said, this is this, exclusives are bad for consumers. He didn't say why. He didn't back his argument. But I actually back his argument in this next section. And this is his, this is his response. It's bad for consumers, but they are, like we've said this heaps of times, there's only one way they're good for consumers. They consume less resources of the developers making them. That's the single.
True.
Thank you.
That's true. If you're developing a game for one console, it will probably take less time. No, that's true.
Way that they're good for consumers because it means you get more games quickly or you get a better quality game. So
okay, so exclusives are bad for consumers. So, okay, yeah, exactly.
And that. But moving that aside, in every other way, they are bad for consumers. And I believe, yes, gaming should be everywhere.
Wait, so besides them being bad for consumers, wait a second. So what's the logic here? So besides them being bad for consumers in every way, if you disregard that, they're also good for consumers in every way. Wait a second. What?
Yeah, that's not at all what I said. I didn't say that. So I don't know where he's getting that from. I didn't say they're good for consumers in every way. What I'm actually saying is they're good for the platform holders. They create a point of difference and a reason for you to go there. So just like Netflix, Disney, Prime, Paramount Plus, every single one of Apple TV, every single one of those subscription services have exclusive content. That gives you a reason to be there. If you like that kind of content, you go there for that kind of content. It's the same with PlayStation, same with consoles, same with Xbox. If you have content there that no one else has and you like that content, or it's good content, it will bring people in. And in that way, your console should stay healthy. I would still argue the Xbox console is healthy. They just want more growth out of it. But your consoles is healthy and you create competition. In that way, a PlayStation puts out a God of War. Xbox puts out a Gears. Like, you get me. Making them. That's the single way that they're good for consumers because it means you get more games quickly or you get a better quality game. So I can understand that. But moving that aside, in every other way, they are bad for consumers. And I believe, yes, gaming should be everywhere. But it's a necessary evil. And what AsmonGold just did.
Why?
Well, I just explained that. Not taking into account is that if there's no exclusives on Xbox, and all of the games from Xbox are on PlayStation, there is no reason to own an Xbox. You follow that thought to its logical conclusion, and eventually what happens is Xbox dies. Maybe not this generation. Maybe not next generation.
I already think that because I have a computer.
Third-party support would stop for the Xbox because player numbers would dwindle. And then you wouldn't, not only would you not...
No. So, like, what are we talking about? Third-party support? You mean like the customer service?
He doesn't get it to start off with, obviously. But no, I'm talking about third-party developers, third-party support. Third parties are the bulk of what you sell on any console. Third parties are the entirety of what you sell on a PC. I guess you could argue that Xbox or Microsoft games are first party on PCs if you want to, but be a weird argument. But third parties is the bulk of your console sales. Like, and if you start losing third party development on your console, you're losing money. So again, another reason why we'll get to the whys and wherefore.
What are we talking about? Third party support? Because like the developers provide that. Third party games, okay. Third party controllers? Oh, won't somebody think of Mad Cats? Oh God.
Not have exclusives to so you can use them in list wars or whatever. But you would also end up with third party games being developed on other platforms and not coming to Xbox. That already happens. We already see that. We've already seen that through the Xbox One generation and a little bit in this generation. So
who cares?
When you say AsmonGold clown me, no, Asmon. We'll get to. Well, let's do the who cares. You should care if the console dies. Right, you've got one console on the market. Well, you've got two. What is that? What is that called? It's called a monopoly or a duopoly, whatever you want to call it. That does not create competition. That does not create innovation. We know this. You can look this up in definitions. It's pretty simple. Like, it's just going to be bad for gaming in general. I would argue we have a very healthy market at the moment. I don't think we did through the Xbox One generation. I don't think we did through the beginning of this generation. But I think Xbox are finding their feet. And at this point, for them to do what it seems like they're going to do, which isn't as bad as what we first thought, but for them to do what it seems like they're going to do, and not even try with their ABK content. They just got ABK. They could have put it in Game Pass. They could have created a massive draw to the console. For them to not even take that step is just mind-bogglingly bean counterish, I guess. It seems like the CFOs and the Satya Nadellas are sort of pulling the strings on that one because they don't understand that in longevity, they could actually start to meet PlayStation again and get neck and neck. It's possible. Is it probable? That's another argument. Gold's just a fucking moron who sits in a pile of filth, like in my opinion, and is completely out of touch, and he should stick to his MMOs. That's just my opinion. I know that other people disagree with that, and that's fine. So look, listen, I'll apologize for that, okay? Asmon, I apologize. However, I just want everyone to realize that the dude insulted me first. He's made another video, if you go back and find it, where he insulted me. And like, it didn't piss me off, but I mean, I don't have a problem if you insult me and then I insult you and we go, that's what we do. Like, fine. I'm not going to get mad or worried about it. But yeah, I'll probably have a couple more comments because this goes on for.
He can get mad all he wants. You get mad all you want about this. You
just not mad.
can insult me or whatever. This isn't gonna make me mad.
This is the thing. Like, you can't insult someone on your video and then be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like when they return fire. But it's strange. And his supporters were very like similar on his video. They were like, oh, you insulted him. Like, the dude insulted me. What, because he's got 1.8 million followers, I should just shut up? No. Like, I don't care if you've got 10 million followers. I would still fire back.
And it's not going to upset me. Like, I'm a 33-year-old man. You really think I'm going to give a shit about, like, if somebody says something like this? Who cares? But I do have to say that the way he said it, it did make it sound like he was getting it off his chest. It feels like he's had that pen up for a couple of days, and he's feeling really good he got that out there. You know, he thought that up ahead of time, what he was going to say. He sounds so...
Yeah, I wish... It's like a 2-hour podcast sometimes goes for 3. We have had a 4-hour podcast, I think, once. I don't know what we're going to... Like, when it's a podcast where it's one topic and it's a big topic, I don't know what we're going to get to or what we're going to talk about. You were just brought up impromptu. Like, I think Blue brought you up. She's a big fan, by the way. I think Blue brought you up. So you weren't a topic. Like, you weren't a thing. So I didn't know we were even going to talk about you, dude. But here we are.
So pissed he does. And listen, like, if he wants to get mad at that, that's totally fine. But you can't go and say that my argument is wrong after saying that exclusives have no benefit for customers other.
I've literally just torn your argument to shreds. I would be interested to see if what your response is, though. Like, I get that you probably don't, people might be like, oh, you're doing it for clout. Absolutely not. Like, I'm happy to come on your channel. I'm happy to go and do it in the Twitter space. I'm happy to have the one-to-one conversation, because it's one thing to sit there, and I understand the irony here. It's one thing to sit there and make assertions at your desk at a laptop or a computer. That's one thing. But to have a face-to-face conversation or a voice-to-voice conversation, peer-to-peer conversation, is a totally different thing. Maybe we can come to an agreement. Maybe we can't. But yeah, I mean, this is sort of like, yeah, interesting.
Than some sense of benefit based on a hypothetical that has been proven to not be true. Sony is already fucking the people. Nintendo is already fucking the people. Games are already not being made for Xbox.
They will fuck them worse. And we've seen a shift mid-generation. You're looking at Square Enix has promised to bring their their games to Xbox. You're seeing a lot more companies change their tact when it comes to Xbox, because they're realizing that now they're a bigger competitor. Like, you can understand that, like, old habits die hard, and the Xbox One generation was terrible. Let's be honest, it was bad, and developers started shifting away. That's what happened, and we got the hangover of that at the beginning of this console generation. And I can say they didn't have a great launch. Let's be honest. They definitely didn't have a great launch. And that perpetuated the feeling of it around Xbox, but things are changing, and for the better. I mean, look at PlayStation the PlayStation don't give you anything for free ever, like, especially the start of this generation. And they gave you a free DLC for God of War. Like, that was after the ABK deal closed. Like, the evidence is there, mate. And it's going to affect you whether you want to admit it, because you're on PC or not. Like, I understand that PC guys have this weird sort of take that they think nothing will affect them, but it's just simply not true, mate.
Why does Xbox need to exist? To keep Sony in check. But the foundation of the argument is that Sony is bad. So if Sony is bad, taking advantage of people, then Xbox isn't keeping them in check in the first place. I agree that competition is good, but clearly Sony doesn't view Xbox as competition. And fuck, why would they whenever they're outselling them 3-1?
Yeah, I mean, Sony themselves said that Xbox was competition in the FTC trial. So then that again is categorically wrong. Sony said it themselves. Are you saying that Sony's wrong about their own console or business strategy? I mean, yeah.
Well, it's not an opinion.
That's a straw man. That's a straw man argument as well. Like, he hasn't thought that through.
Yeah,
Talk about the roaches.
He absolutely sits in filth. No, he sits in filth. There's not even opinion. That's just facts right there. But
yeah, I don't know why anyone would. I don't know why anyone would listen to that dude. To be honest, like, anyway, but that's enough of like
you get mad all you want. Get mad all you want. I'm still right.
But you know what?
That's
dude?
it. If you want to
right.
go and have your support group podcast.
bro. I mean, there's an insult there.
About how dirty my room is, then you can do that. But the truth is that I can clean up my room and you'll still be a moron.
There's another insult. I mean, I've literally just torn your argument to shreds, and I could do it one-to-one if you want to. I don't really think a moron could.
That's the difference. People don't understand that. It'll take me like probably 3 or 4 hours to clean up my room, and I'll still be right.
You know, this is the thing. I apologize again for mentioning his room, but I was shocked at how filthy it was. Like I really, really was. And I don't know Asmon. He's not someone who I would watch. I think he streams games and does react videos. That's usually not what I'm into. And again, I would say that like what we do, which is analyze the industry and follow it, is not what Asmon's into. I'm not like stay in your lane, dude. But on the room thing, like, dude, like he's, like I said, I made a video before. He's about to say like I could pay someone to clean my room. Why don't you do that? Like I would have someone clean. I do have a cleaner come to my house because I'm busy. I work. I got 5 kids. I got stuff on. I got family and stuff to do. So I pay someone to clean my room, my house. Like you could, if you could do that, why don't you? I mean, it doesn't matter. It's by the by, but like he can live how the hell he wants to live. I'm not his dad, but I don't know, man. Using that as an argument as to why I'm a moron is also a bit strange.
This is not. I could pay somebody to do it. I wouldn't even have to do anything.
I mean, does that make sense though? It's cool. I mean, like I could pay someone to do it. I wouldn't have to do anything. So why don't you do it?
I like
completely dumb.
What's hey, Tom Warren?
I like Asmon. Do I think his
Tom
opinion
Warren,
was
Riskit?
wrong? Yes, but
yeah. So
yeah,
coming back to what we're talking about with
Yep.
do I think that Starfield was ever coming? Oh, Blue called you a smart girl. She'll love that, man. She's a big fan. So look, Asmon, I don't have anything against you at all. I feel like I've made my points. I think you're completely wrong. I think you're a bit out of touch, mate. And again, I don't have anything against you. But it's one thing to sit at a desk in front of your computer and make assertions, and it's a completely another thing to actually have a conversation. And I'm happy to have that conversation. The invite is there. We can do it in a Twitter space. We can do it on a podcast. It could be on your channel. I don't care where we do it. It could be on my channel. I honestly don't care. I'm happy to have these conversations with people. We get a PlayStation guy, right? Have all 3 of us. Maybe we could solve the war. You know, the PC versus PlayStation versus Xbox. I don't know. Different opinions, I guess, is what makes the world go around. Anyway, guys, if you like this content, please hit the like button. If you didn't like it, hit the dislike button. If you do like it, though, we have a podcast. It goes live at 7 p.m. EST every Friday. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to be notified when it goes live. Anyway, guys, thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you in the next one.